We started in 2000. It was a fairly silly show that we started with, and I don't think we ever thought that it would go for 12 years or perhaps even more, because we have signed up for a couple more seasons. No, we didn't expect that. But I think what has given it its longevity is the fact that over the first few years that we started doing the show, we started to bring more and more political satire into the show, and that's what the audience feed on. They love it, and they can't get enough of it. And we can't either.
They write very well for women, for men.
Well, it's a golden period for women in politics at the moment too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great, and Amanda does such a good Julia Gillard that it would be ridiculous to do a political satire without having a strong female figure in it, at the moment particularly.
But that's the other thing that happens. Sometimes the men play the women, and I find that personally hilarious. And sometimes women play men, and I think that those boundaries are shifted for artistic reasons and also sometimes quick change reasons.
For instance, this may happen. This is a hypothetical suggestion. There's somebody maybe in the wings getting into a full-length swimming costume, put their leg in their arm and their arm in their leg, and then try and walk on stage.
Who would be silly enough to do that?
I don't know who would do that, but that can be quite funny.
Especially when that's not the one that's coming up. And they've got the sketches in the wrong order.
But if an audience sees that, then that is very funny, and that's when you can share what's actually happening and making you go up on stage. And there is that element in the review, is that we take things very seriously, but sometimes you can see us paddling underneath, and that can be funny, and the audience can share that.
But the great thing about also doing the review at the STC is there's such an extraordinary store of costumes and props and sets. And you just walk in and suddenly an idea, you go, oh, we'll have that. So the horse for the opening sequence, any number of costumes we've suddenly thought, well, that'd be good, we'll do a penguin sketch. And it's just extraordinary to have this resource there, and it's so cheap. I'd say for a young theatrical, if you want to be a theatrical satirist, don't forget that you're in a theatre. Don't try and sort of source everything as if it's from a TV or film. And I think that's one of the ways, one of the pitfalls of theatrical satirists, not that there are many of them about, is everything is referenced from a different medium. So if you can try and get as much theatricality into it as possible, I think it really helps.
The audience is a very important part of what the Wharf Revue is, because the audience gives you, as in most plays, gives you energy, and you can also tell what's working and what's not working when you've got an audience, and you can make adjustments in a review accordingly. And I would always say to young writers, particularly comedy writers, work the material and try and be objective. If something's not working, change it. I mean, you know, you have difficulty doing that in Shakespeare, but you can do it with your own stuff. And I think we change things quite a lot because, you know, to try and get the optimum version of what we're doing.